Today's topic is about keeping going. Today's topic is about keeping going. I'm going to leave a God's message with this topic. For today's message, chapter 17 is about Jesus who had to pray for others. In other words, this is about prayer for high priest. We need to learn about how to pray as we see Jesus praying. For today's chapter, we can see 3 points in more detail. The first point is that it is about oneself from the first verse to verse 5 of the John chapter 17. The next one is about prayer for his disciples in verse 6 to verse 19 of the chapter. The last one is for all believers in the rest of the chapter. I'll give you one of my experiences I had to remember relating to this topic. I met one of the male church members. He said that his father doesn't believe Jesus. As he said, I reply, he is a disbeliever. After I said the word, he answered me back, no, he is not a disbeliever. He is just one of the non-Christians. But he might believe him later. With his saying, his words were very impressed to me. I have still remembered what he said. So, the last part of his prayers, he focused on non-Christians who would believe the Christ in the future. He prayed for other believers. In John chapter 17, Jesus mentioned that he prayed for himself. We have to pray for ourselves first. When we pray for our problems and ourselves, we sometimes feel embarrassed, so we try to avoid our prayers and then pray for others. But this is not good for us. We need to pray for ourselves. Then we will become strong believers and we have a strong faith. Then we can pray for others and take care of them. From this week, our church divides into 8 groups. New leaders will be set up in the groups. Some of them are new to lead their groups and followers. Also, they plan to set up more sub-leaders and divide into some team in each group. The new leader must pray for themselves to keep their groups safe and have a strong faith. As here, chapter 47 is one of the good examples to describe. As here said that the water was up to my ankle deep, then my knees. Later, it came to my waist. Then I could not cross. As here, chapter 47, verse 9, swarms of living creatures will live wherever the river flows. There will be large numbers of fish because this water flows there and makes the salt water fresh. So, where the river flows, everything will live. The starting point is from me. We must pray for ourselves and become strong believers. And also we have a strong faith. All problems always come from me. I'll give you a funny story. There is a parrot in a cafe. The characteristic of the parrot is to just to do as people say. One day, when one female came into the cafe, the parrot said, "Hey lady, you're so ugly." So, she heard his saying. She felt embarrassed. Next day, she came to the place that the parrot repeated, "Hey lady, you're so ugly." She heard it again. So she was really upset. Then she called the owner of the parrot. She complained about what the parrot did for her. He apologized to her for the parrot. He said, "I am really sorry. I will train him with good manner." After the day, she came to the cafe again. The parrot said that, "Hey lady, like this joke story, we must know what and who we are. We need to exercise and make a healthy body. This is to protect our body. Also, we need to think about our spiritual mind. We must wake up not to trick ourselves into the evil. But before we get any tricks, we must be strong for ourselves. we need to think about our health body and spiritual condition. From this message, we are going to look through 3 points. The first one is that he prayed for himself, especially he wanted to keep his mission for the glory of God. John chapter 17 verse 1, after Jesus said this, he looked toward heaven and prayed, Father, the time has come. Glorify your Son, that your Son may glorify you. From this verse, the important words are the time has come. This means that the time has come to prepare, or the time has come to work. The time has come to practice, or the time has come to fight. Moreover, the time has to come stand back, or the time has come to move forward. We have to wait for a time to come. What Jesus said, the time has come. This means that the time has come for him to crucify on the cross. Then he said that your Son may glorify you. The meaning of the word glorify you is that Jesus wanted to take the mission for glorify God. Some of you say, I watch TV for 6 hours. It makes me glorify. Do you think this makes sense? No, they never say that. Also, some of them say, I worked hard last night, then I will drink a lot to glorify me. Do you think it makes them glorify? No, it cannot. Look at Jesus saying, he wanted to keep going for his mission. He said that, please make me keep my way and glorify me. I do not give up on my mission. I know this is the hardest way for me, but I will overcome. He prayed, there are some temptations to me, but I will keep going for the mission. We need to pray like him. In Sunday school, some Sunday school teachers think that I have a lot of work to do. I have no time to finish my work. I will start working in Sunday school anymore. They should wake up. It does not make them glorify. More examples. Any leaders decide to quit from their groups. Please do not think about that. You must keep your way, and you have to keep your work. Any of you think that I have come to Jeon services for 1 year, so I will stop coming to service anymore from next week. I need to have a break. Please do not think about that. This doesn't make you glorify. We must keep going until the end. I will introduce you one pastor. His name is Bill Hybels from Ilya Creek Community Church in Chicago. A title of one of his books he has written is about keep going, as the same as today's topic. In his church, he had experienced a lot of troubles from his church members and had some problems to solve. One day, he read Galatians chapter 6, verse 9. Let's not become weary in doing good. Health at the proper time. We need to reap the harvest if we have not given up. After he read this verse, he called out all his people to come to the front where he stood. He called people who had given up their work, people who had been apart from their hope, people who had been away from their mission, and people who had given up from their life. They came to him and he prayed for them. He prayed for them to keep their ways, not to give up. During his praying, the church members cry out. Then they recover from their mind. When you have a lot of troubles, we try to give up our hope and the mission. But when you have kept going for the mission, our God said that, I'm sorry, and thank you for overcoming the troubles. When you have so much work to take over, we feel exhausted. When our God sees us, He said, thank you for keeping doing it. The Bible says, He will give us the strength and the ways to overcome. But wherever you go, and where you go through tribulation, we try to avoid all troubles. But our God said, thank you for your patience. We must keep yourself on the path. This is a faithful life. We should keep going for a mission. Everyone wants to live a comfortable life. Everyone wants to enjoy their life. Nobody wants to get troubles, and nobody wants to go through the hard time. And they try to avoid bad things in their life. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 36. You need to persevere so that when you have done the will of God, you will receive what you have promised. Moreover, Hebrews chapter 10, verse 38 to 39. But my righteous one will live by faith, and if he shrinks back, I will not be pleased with him. But we are not of those who shrink back and are destroyed, but of those who believe and are saved. When you live with patience, this is faith. We need patience to keep our prayer. I have talked about good pain and bad pain before. To get good pain, we have patience. So we know that suffering produces perseverance, character, and character to hope. When you have had bad pain, we always complain and do not have any satisfactions in our life. What's faith? It is we need persevere. We need to pray for our life. Please make me keep going. Now, we have to think about Jesus. We pray for his cross, and he kept going for his mission. The second point is that Jesus asked for power. John chapter 17, verse 2. For you granted him authority over all people, that he might give eternal life to all those you have given him. He asked for authority to all believers. People had a mission, but without authority or power, they cannot keep going. They need power to continue their work. In our church, the new leaders set up. They need to keep their group strong, but before they act, they need to have power to control their group. Before they start something, they need to pray, and they need authority. Think about Jesus. Before Jesus started his work, he did fasting for 40 days and 49. Then he received the power to begin his work. Like him, from all new leaders and sub-leaders, I want them to do fasting for a few days, and then they receive the power of the prayer. I want them to make powerful prayer for their groups. Before Jesus selected his disciples, he stayed all night to pray. Then he went around to see his disciples. What did we have to do? We need to pray. Mark chapter 9, Jesus' disciples could not drive out of the spirit of a son who had disease. They came to Jesus. Why wasn't the son relieved from his pain? Jesus replied, Mark chapter 9, verse 29, this kind came out only by prayer. What do we need? We need to pray. Without praying, it cannot happen to our life. We have no power or authority. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 5. Having a form of the godliness, but denying its power, have nothing to do with them. People trying to think about their internal aspects, they tend to have a form to show others. They should deny themselves and need to receive power. People have power to act their mission and words. Some churches are playing like being a church. In other words, they look church, but they have no power. They need to have power to keep their church members. I'm a pastor. I have power to preach God's word. Without any power, you will not come to this service and do not listen to what I'm preaching. God gives me His authority to deliver His message. even leaders, you need to have power to control your group's members. Then they will follow your word. Also, teachers, they need the power to lead their students. Without any power or authority, they will not listen to you and do not want them to learn anything from you. They need the power from God. The leaders should do fasting to become strong. And also, even followers, they will listen to you and they will see your power as well. Mark chapter 1, verse 22, Jesus said the people was amazed at his teaching because he taught them as one who had authority, not as the teachers of the law. From this verse, the one who had authority, this is exousia in Hebrew. Ek means from, which is one of the prepositions, and ousia means essence. So the meaning of the word is that it starts from the essence. Jesus had power, whereas the teachers at the Lord did not. Jesus has his power to work. Like him, we need to have power. People trying to spend their money to show their leadership. In a short time, their followers might listen to them, but later they ignore their leaders. They need to pray first and pray for receiving the power from God. Luke chapter 10, verse 19, I have given you authority to trample on the snakes and scorpions and to overcome all the power of the energy. Nothing will harm you. Like Jesus, we need to pray for having power over all the people. Do not get scared of having bad situation and environments, but just keep your ways and have power to overcome. Romans chapter 8, verse 28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who loved him, who have been called according to his purpose. From this verse, God who has worked for his purpose is synergeo in Hebrews. In English, it is called God makes synergy. He makes good synergies for us. He makes it for the good. This is our God. We do not worry what things come to us. It is a good one or a bad one. We do not care about it because we know we can overcome. I'll give you one example. There is a queen who is named Mary in Great Britain. She had killed so many people, so her nickname is Mary the Blood. Henry VIII made the Anglican Church. He got married with Catherine, who is a Spanish princess. But he did not love her, so he divorced with her and got remarried with a princess maid. The Pope of the Catholic Church said, do not get divorced as following the rule of the church law. The king ignored the law and made a new religion. When the king got married with Catherine, Mary was born. Then they got divorced. From the influence from her parents, she hated the religion what the father made. She had killed so many Christians in her life. One of the church workers was in the jail, and he believed the Romans, chapter 8, verse 28. In all things God works for the good of those who loved him. He loved this verse. He believed our God is synergy. At the time, Mary killed Christians with fire. The man was sentenced to be dead, so he was brought from Rome to London. On the way, he got wounded, and then he had suffered some fractures in his body. While he was coming to London, he believed that in all things God works for the good of those who loved him. Suddenly, he got a news that Queen Mary passed away, so he was released. This is the power of believers. We are not sure what happens in our life. There are bad things or good things, but we know in all things God works for the good of those who loved him. Do you believe it? He will use us for good. Church should have the authority. Then, with his power, we can make the revival. We probably act unfaithfully, but he uses us for his glory. Look at an apostle is Paul. He said that even though I was once a blasphemer and persecutor and a violent man, I was shown mercy because I acted on ignorance and unbelief. After he became the apostle, he led his believers to Jesus. Even Peter, he denied Jesus 3 times. But later, with a sorrowful mind, he became more faithful. This shows the great authority. I want you to have this power in your life. Now we see the first point is to keep going. The next one is to have power. The last point is intimacy. John chapter 17, verse 3 to 5. Now, this is eternal life, that they may know you, the only true God, and Jesus Christ, whom you have sent. I have brought you glory on earth by completing the work you gave me to do. And now, Father, glorify me in your presence with the glory I had with you before the world began. What is the mission of Jesus? He needed to crucify on the cross and spread God's message to others. This is eternal life. So, he focused on intimacy. There are 2 types of it. The first type is the intimate relationship with God. The next one is to have the close bond with other believers. To make a deep relationship with God, what do we have to do? We need to keep His word. Anyone who hasn't been to church for a long time and come back to the service, we need to keep the relationship with Him and keep praying. When you go to service, we can see how pastors and church members make a relationship or not. I'll give you my personal experience. I like Pastor Kyung-jin Han. He had prayed for a long time. I had never impressed from his sermons. I felt nothing and made me sleepy. But when he started to pray, his praying was like echo to me. It shook my heart. I thought he shared a close relationship with God. I could see how he loved God. Psalms 25, verse 14. The Lord confides in those who fear Him. He makes His covenant known to them. David mentioned that the Lord confides in those who fear Him. And this shows intimacy. Before I started this sermon, we sang a song. The name of the song is that I never want anything in my life to take your place. I never wanted to live by any other grace. My longing and my heart desires to see your face, O Lord, and become a friend of God. I love you day and night. I love you all my heart. I love you, Lord, heart and soul. I long to be a friend of God. The last message is that I want to be your friend. This shows intimacy. God called Abraham as his friend. When he met Moses, Exodus chapter 33, verse 11, the Lord would speak to Moses face to face, as a man speaks with his friend. God met him as his friend. To make a close relationship with God, it must be our purpose. We must come to God with what and who we are. People trying to cover their internal and external things to hide, but before God, it can be nothing. In your family, when you stay at home, do you still make up on your face? No, we do not. We show ourselves in family. We do not hide anything. The next point is that people trying to make more relationship with others. Some of them just know with their friends. We do not want to know new people. Or they just meet God in services. Then they disappear. John chapter 10 is about the shepherd and his flock. John chapter 10 verse 14, the shepherd said that, I am the good shepherd. I know my sheep and my sheep know me. He mentioned that, I know. When we know someone, we say, I know him or I know her. This is show intimacy. Before I was open Hongdae New Church, I tried to focus on young people and university students. It was hard for me to make a close relationship with them. I had prayed for them with the heart. Then something changed to me. After a few years later, it is easy for me to have a conversation with the young people. When I was in Hongdae New Church, there are many children. I did not know when they came to me. I do not know how I could deal with the active children. I had prayed deeply. Then I can see they like me. After service, they wait for me and hug me as well. This time, I have prayed for others, especially females who are over 4 years old. I had not had any chance to meet them in my life. But this time in this church, I realized I tried to meet them a lot. I have prayed to make a good conversation with them. I'm really happy to have good relationship with the female church members and all the people. People trying to meet their favorite people or friends, they do not know new people in their life. They have no chance to have intimacy. This is important to Christians. We need intimacy with others. Mark chapter 5 is about one of the synagogue rulers. In the situation, Jesus was with a man who worked as the synagogue rulers. This shows that the ruler was in a high position in the society. He fell at Jesus' feet. People who came to the place where Jesus was and saw the sins, what the man did. One woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 7 years. She believed that if I just touch his clothes, I will be healed. Then she touched his cloak. Jesus felt something from her. Then he shouted, "Who touched my clothes?" His disciples said, "There are many people. We do not know who did." But Jesus ignored the disciples' saying. He asked again, "Who touched my clothes?" The woman came to him, and then Jesus encouraged her to keep her way and praise her face. Jesus made a conversation with the woman. From the situation, people focused on the ruler and his daughter, who was healed by Jesus. But Jesus met the woman who was healed by him as well. Jesus did not care who was the rich or the poor. He met and have a conversation with the people equally. Jesus shows what the faith is. We need to follow him, and we need to do what he did. This is a faith. So we must pray, or really make a deep relationship with new people and build a way to meet them. This is what he wants. Proverbs chapter 19 verse 17. He who is kind to the poor less to the Lord, and He will reward him for what he has done. From this verse, what our God said, He would pay back to us if we give money to poor. People trying to know famous or rich people, they want to meet them to look better, but they do not. We should meet everyone.
아무 가치도 없는 것 같은 사람에게 가까이 가는 것, 그 친밀함, 그게 능력이라는 거예요. 그래서 여러분들 신앙의 능력 다른 게 아닙니다.
It doesn't matter who the rich or the poor is. We need to encourage each other and praise each other. This is what our Lord wants. Especially, young people show their charm and appear what their characteristics are. Before I was open this church, I have known 3 males. They looked unattractive. No one was interested in them. After 7 or 8 months later, they look very attractive. They are wearing suits and have a nice hairstyle.
매력이 없는 애, 내가 봐도 매력이 없어 걔는. 걔는 조금만 잘못 웃어도 거의 그냥 매도해 버리려고. 말도 안 되죠, 그요.
Like them, this is restorations, and churches should help church members to recover. This is called restoration. Please do not evaluate others. We have to accept who and what they are. When you judge others, we will become Pharisees.
이제는 그럴듯한 인생으로 변화됐어요. 멋있어요. 이제 양복도 제대로 입고 다니고 헤어스타일도 옛날에 촌스러운데 이제
We need to cover them and help them to become strong. So what do we need? We need intimacy.
교회 능력이 뭔지 아십니까? 회복이에요. 회복. restoration. 회복시키는 게 교회 아니에요.
We need to make close relationship with all church members, even children, young people, and others.
바리새인과 다를 게 뭐가 있어요? 좋다 나쁘다 그거 못할 사람 누가 있어요? 품고 변화시켜야죠.
We must unite it as family and have a close relationship in Jesus.
넘어진 사람 이렇게 줘야죠. 그게 교회입니다, 교회. 그런 의미에서 우리에게 꼭 필요한 게 뭐예요? intimacy. 친밀함 꼭 필요합니다.
I want Hongdae New Church members to remember 3 points. They are to keep going, have authority, and make intimacy.
가장 강력한 하나님의 종이 될 것으로 확신합니다. 우리 홍대석의 모든 성도들, 우리 예수님의 자기 자신을 위한 중보기도, 이 3가지 기도, keep going.
Let's pray. Please make me keep going and keep ourselves on the path. And also give me your authority. Lastly, please help me make a new relationship with new people. Let's pray.